Welcome to our next adventure with Chemology 411, a podcast about anything and everything. Kim and her guests will take you behind the scenes, behind the story, or behind the bar. So sit back. Make sure your seatbelt is fastened, tray table in its upright position, all carry-ons stored under the seats. But for this adventure, electronic devices must remain on, as we are ready to take off on our next adventure. Introducing Kim Schultz and Chemology 411.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 50. 50 is fabulous. This evening, we are talking about how your life changes after 50 and how awesome it is to be 50. I'm Kim Schultz, and I'm your adventure coordinator for this show. Let's say hi to my co-host, Tyson Harley.
It really is awesome to be 50. How are you doing, Kimmy? I don't know why that sounded like Sean Connery. Not sure what was going on there.
It was like Sean Connery and the guy from that Christmas show.
I thought you were going to say...
When the angel gets its wings, what is that?
Jimmy Stewart?
Jimmy Stewart. It's Sean Connery and Jimmy Stewart.
Don't you love it when you do impressions and then don't mean them, so there's no way you can do them on purpose. You just totally accidentally. So, yeah, hello.
Hi.
How are you? This sounds like a really fun topic. No, it will be fun.
It's going to be awesome.
I'd rather we are talking about hitting 30, but, that's the way life goes. I always say to my nephews, I'm like, well, I mean, there wasn't much of a choice. I mean, turns out, as long as you keep living, you get older, so yep. I can't really help it.
And we are approaching Kimtober. Next month is Kimtober.
Yeah. And
so that makes me another year older.
Another anniversary of your 29th. That's what I say.
Right.
It's just at some point, if you have, neither one of us are that close to this yet, but if at some point you have 29 anniversaries to your 29th, then it seems like it's going to go downhill from there.
It's going to go, yeah. Well, my daughter's actually 29. She'll be 30 this year.
You don't keep track of how many anniversaries of your 29th birthday you've had. You just say every year that you're having an anniversary of your 29th birthday. That's all. All right, so let's get started with Tyson's Quick Hits. And the first one is, we are looking and scouting this subject, which is about how your life changes after 50, after we said. And so this came up in the show planning, and Kim said something like, we must have been 50. I must have been 50 when I was 20. And Kim's like, that because she was talking about planning financially.
I was reading through all the notes that we're going to go over, and I was like reading them, and I was like, oh, I guess I was 50 when I was 20.
Planning financially.
It's half the stuff I've already done.
So for me, it's like, for me, it was like, oh, conspiracies. I must have been 50 when I was 20s. A little bit different viewpoints.
Exactly.
Quick hits number 2. Kitty. Our kitty update.
Kitty.
Well, guess what happened to poor kitty?
Oh,
My sister is visiting. My sister visits me more. Now they have a nice kitty instead of a cranky old buddy boy.
Is that your sister that lives?
Yeah, who is gorgeous, but he was also a little cranky around visitors.
I never got to meet him.
He was majestic.
Yeah.
But anyway, this kitty's a lot nicer. And so she's visiting, and all of a sudden she's like, well, guess who has worms? I'll be like, what? So
Oh, gross.
Yeah, tell me about it. So I went and got treatment. But they didn't have, like, I don't know, if you will, like, the strong stuff. I don't know, maybe the strong stuff is like you give it to them once, and hopefully they'll survive, but those worms won't.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I guess, what about this one? It's organic, and you at least have it. It's like, oh, well, according to popularity, at least, it seems like that stuff must work pretty good. But you look on the thing, and it says, administer 3 times a day for 14 days.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, okay, what I tell you? Okay, well, I'm gonna go do the first treatment before I got here. Well, it's 5 drops, and it's like you can just administer just in the water, but it just works better just to give them 5 drops.
Yeah.
My little buddy wasn't having it. Like, I don't know, in a previous lifetime, if he had 3,000 treatments he was not having it. So I don't know how I'm gonna. He was like, ah! No way. He's like, if cats could talk, his actions were saying, "Oh hell nah,"
nah.
not today, not tomorrow, because he was freaking out. So I don't know how I'm even going to get it. All I was trying to do is, you know how you just kind of pinch at the corners of like a cat or dog's mouth, they tend to open. Just give it a nice little drop. I do have a dropper I just packed from last episode. I can find it. It's nearby. Maybe a dropper I get into his mouth more. But he was freaking out just with a little bit of tip. I don't know if it tasted funny off his tongue. I couldn't even get, so I just put it in his water.
Sorry. My brain just went really dark.
We're gonna
move on.
So the good thing is he got a scratching post the same day, because when you get a scratching post in your kitty, you get that good leverage because you're still little. Yeah. Now he's big enough that he tries to get leverage on scratching post and it goes sideways. So I went and got him another one. So yeah, scratching post, very successful purchase. He loved quite a lot right away. I'm like, good cat. Yeah, he's like, yeah, this is awesome. I weighted it down because you can still pull that one over, but I have some boxes around based on what we were talking about last episode, so I just put it underneath the boxes. It's still better, and it's got plenty of scratchy stuff on it. So he loved it. But the other one, not so much. So we'll see how we're going to administer 51 more treatments of that in 14 days.
Can you figure out, like, what it looks like in the dropper, like how many drops it is, and then you just go...
Well, that's what I think.
You're not going to be able to do, like, drop, drop, drop. You're just going to have to just go...
Hold it once and just... Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to have to do, but I don't know how. It's a pretty small bottle to begin with, so yeah, it's going to be difficult. So that's the kitty quick hit and kitty quick hit.
Kitty
quick hit. All right, so another one is quick hit number 3. I was just noticing a town name the other day because I was thinking of ordering something, and it was saying where it was coming from, and it was. If you've heard of this town, City of Industry, California.
What?
City of Industry. Doesn't sound very romantic. It's not like a founding father, but
sounds like it'd be in a Batman movie.
It's got a purpose, City of Industry. That's what we are here. We're industrious. So it made me think of some other interesting town names, So this is high aspiration, City of Industry. This is where we are free market and we do things here. And well, on that end, there are some that are kind of highly aspirational, like why did I call this one high aspirational? In one sense, knock 'em stiff, Ohio. If you're a boxer,
right? Knock 'em
maybe.
Stiff.
I can't remember if it's Ohio or Ontario. I have a little bit of chicken scratch here, but knock 'em stiff. That's at least you got a goal, right?
Right.
And another one that's maybe high is Buttsville. For me, in my opinion, Buttsville, New Jersey. I want to visit.
Yes.
And I
wonder if baby got back.
And hopefully everybody there has good aspirations. And they're meeting them. If I'm going to go to Buttsville, New Jersey, hopefully that's a place that's really reaching their goal. So I thought that too. But the highest one, Bacon Level, Alabama.
What?
That is a high level right there.
That is a very high level.
You have reached bacon level. So again, we're talking about City of Industry. And now it's just as far as, okay, so let's say neutral places. Where it's not a high aspiration, it's not low. Well, how about neutral Kansas? I don't know who came up with that.
I wonder if it's said differently, like neutral.
Yeah, you're right, but it is spelled exactly like neutral. And also nothing, Arizona. What is going on there? Nothing, apparently.
Yeah, nothing.
And you think in the neighboring state, you can go to... Where are we? It's like we're nowhere. Actually, you are right. That is nowhere, Colorado. You're in nowhere, Colorado. So, kind of neutral. There's some other ones that I can't quite categorize as, neutral or very low. There's a Greasy Corner, Arkansas. Also, there's a couple that go. There's a Forks of Salmon, California. So I was kind of wanting to look up the ones that had "of" in the middle, like like ones where the name is a phrase.
Right.
Didn't have real good luck with that, so I just found these. Interestingly, there is both a Blue Ball, Delaware,
Oh, whoa.
and a Licking, Missouri. So I don't know if you want to call those very low aspirations or maybe very high aspirations.
Maybe a lot of fun goes on.
I don't know. Maybe that's high aspirations. And there's also just a nice one called Fluffy Landing in Florida. Isn't that nice?
Oh, there's a Fluffy Landing?
Yes, that's very nice. And there's a Satan's Kingdom, Minnesota. What the hell is going on? I don't understand. Maybe it's Massachusetts, more chicken scratch, but it is Satan's Kingdom. And that's how you have to say it whenever you're welcome.
Yeah, you do.
Like when you go to the Welcome Center.
Exactly. Welcome to Satan's Kingdom. I can't even be mean. I just have a little high key voice.
Yeah, someone has a high voice. They can't be an employee at the Welcome Center.
No.
They could, but they'd have to keep their mouth shut. And then the last one that I thought, okay, so places that are about, what the name says what they're about, city of industry, so on and so forth. I think the one that we can't ignore here would be the best, Candyland.
Candyland?
Yeah, that's the best, right?
Where's that at?
I don't know, but
don't know.
I just know there's a game.
I bet there's.
And if it was in real life, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
Did you play it much?
Oh my goodness, yes.
And when you're a little kid, you're like, "Oh, that'd be awesome if that thing existed."
So much candy. This
So much
beautiful candy.
That was right up there with Trouble as far as games that caught my imagination as a kid. Because Trouble, you got to do a little pop-up thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that was all kinds of fun. So that's Quick Hits.
Awesome.
For the episode.
So we are coming on a big anniversary, and I would say that we were going to go out drinking and dancing and celebrating, but I don't know if that's going to be legal or not. I don't know if we're able to, but at some point we got to get out and go dancing. You have only talked about your dance moves, and I'm a dancer.
I can't. Not at my age. That's the one thing we're going to talk about. It's like I said, if I guess we're talking about it now. If we. That's one reason I don't like any of the artificial intelligence stuff. I don't like any of us becoming machines. That's garbage, and it's for control. So that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. And I think it's control mechanism, and it'll probably do more harm than good, but we won't know it because we'll be able to, get to the internet through our eyeballs. Whoopity flip and do. I'd rather you focus and be a human and maybe meditate. But one reason I would like a avatar is so I could dance. Forget like nobody's watching. They can watch all they want. They just think that I'm 23 and it's appropriate for me to dance.
Oh man, I still love to dance.
So
I'm a dancer. I love to get out there, and I don't care. Just let me just dance.
You're a girl. You can do that.
Oh, guys can do that. Dudes. I love. Oh my gosh.
Now I don't mean. Oh, let's do the waltz, which I did try to learn before. I mean waltz. Just boogie.
I can waltz. I can do any dance. Triple step, two step, waltz.
I just
line
mean
dancing,
boogie.
but
yeah.
I can shake my ass dance. I call it shake my ass dance, and love doing that. But I miss it because I haven't done it. And the one place that I go do it already closed down in April. All 4 bars closed down in Kansas City. My friend owns them, and they said there's absolutely no way we can stay afloat. And they were right because they wouldn't be really doing anything because we are now in the footloose time where it is illegal to dance, and we have got to make our prom across state lines or something. I got to find some dancing pretty soon. I'm just gonna have my own freaking dance. But anyway, I love to dance. I started watching Mad Men.
Don't put Kevin Bacon in the corner. Well, I'm getting my movies mixed up.
That's
totally wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Anyway, go ahead.
Goodness. Okay. So I started watching Mad Men. I got done with people killing everyone or dying or covering up murders
in your other series
and vampires eating people. It was too much, so I started watching Mad Men, which is basically just a chauvinistic, sexist shofar show back in the 60s. They're smoking cigarettes everywhere they go, which, by the way, they were just clove. They were not real. I investigated. And it's actually so far it's pretty good. I mean, just to kind of remember back in that time, and them they're doing pretty good. But wow, like how times have changed. And yes, I am still addicted to TV. So the other day I saw a meme on someone's page, and it was like, it was basically like, police officers are needed, doctors are needed, grocery store people are needed, and they listed off all these people and said, but who's not needed are the sports figures, the entertainers, and the movie stars.
That's
we can
right.
do without them. And I was like, oh, hell no.
Oh,
that is
okay.
the only thing
Totally had that wrong.
that I've been doing is watching television. And if these people were not television stars and movie stars, what the hell would I be doing? What would we be doing? Take out all the television and then put in COVID.
You just have your music on or something while you're working instead.
Oh, yes, I have my own little dance party all by myself.
Yes, certainly you have used that for a purpose, and it has in some way helped people, kind of, I don't know, have some companionship or just something to pass the time in this weird year.
But what also gets me is that entertainment is a quality of life.
Yep.
And by saying that, you're basically telling everyone that we do not need a quality of life. We have no Broadway. We have all these actors. We have all these tech people that are not working right now. Those people keep people alive. Like, I have to have my entertainment. I have to have my sports. I have to have
exactly.
all that.
It's like what some of that does, except that things have been politicized, but that's another story, is that it can be your escape. And now, unfortunately, everybody's got to be on a bandwagon of something or the other instead of just doing their initial thing, was to give us a little bit of escape with art or entertainment, if it's a sports entertainment stuff,
Right.
And so certainly that escape is something, you need it in regular times, let alone in 2020.
Like, our normal lives have so much entertainment and sports and all that stuff involved in it. I mean, it's a huge amount of our time. Even like banquets, networking events, award ceremonies, all these things that have been taken away from us, and that's what's destroying our mental health. And these people are like, yo, we don't need them. And I think it's probably a meme because they got up and they spoke about what's going on. And I've never listened to anybody except who would know what was talking about. They can get up and talk about their nonprofit and why they support something, but that's their opinion. It always has been.
Yeah, that's why I am with sports.
Vote.
I mean, I am going to boycott the NFL, but that's for a different reason. Because I didn't, the whole Colin Kaepernick thing back in the day, I'm like, I can see it from both sides. I'm not really mad at the NFL about it either way. And then with the NBA, they're being very outspoken.
Right.
But I'm like, I don't care. I want to watch my sports, and I'm going to gloss past that. As a libertarian, I don't have to get so polarized that I have to really stand on one side or the other. I mean, I have my opinions, but I'm like, you know what? They're not politicians, and I don't think they're working with the nuance that really matters, that's really important. But I can still watch sports, and it's some distraction for me. And honestly, it's something that, your entertainment and my sports, some of my buddies were dudes, right? It's like, we don't ask how our, wives and girlfriends are doing. We ask, so did you see the game? And that's kind of always the entrance to a nice neutral conversation. Then you do ask some of the other stuff on the side. That's the type of thing that we have fun. You want to open up. That's why, guys like women who like sports. It's just an easy thing to talk about.
I love sports.
Right. So it's like you want to get a guy who doesn't seem like he talks very much.
Right.
If it seems like he might watch the NFL, like you saw him wear a cap, just ask him about the Chiefs.
Right.
Or whatever. What do you think of Lamar Jackson, this year? Is he going to have a chance? And he's going to open up. And it's the same idea. It's just this neutral conversation that's more of a universal conversation. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but if you see, like, I wonder, for most women, you might pick a popular show. And you can probably mention it.
Like Housewives or The Bachelor.
Yeah, mention one of the top 5, and somewhere in there, someone's going to have an opinion that just is kind of like, oh, yeah, totally. And all of a sudden, off you go running, not talking about serious stuff.
Right. Well, but here's my problem with the whole thing. As these people on Facebook and social media who are not actors or stars or doctors, aren't they expressing the same opinion as these NFL and the NBA people are. I mean, everyone has an opinion, and the only reason that you get to see the like someone that's in the fame category is because they're known more. And I think we've had a podcast on this before about how you hear from these stars, but I see it on my Facebook all the time. I'm like this, oh, you're a blah, 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 blah. I don't care about your opinion. I don't care about your opinion. So you still get to have it.
You can still separate
boycotting it, but I'm not going to say, you know what, whatever, let's just say their job, yeah, you're not worth anything. You're not, everybody is needed in this world. So those stupid memes absolutely mean nothing to me when you're trying to be a smart ass and trying to shut people up, when in reality, you can talk just as much as them and you don't have to listen to other people at all. I mean, you don't have to listen. So, anyway, that was my meme. I was just kind of tired. I was like, ugh. Anyway, so I also, I finished The Organized Mind, and I did my first video in Bookology today on Facebook. I've got a group called Bookology. And it's basically, I will have no more than probably 20 people in it, and we will all just do videos on all of the books that we're reading that are more like business books, self-help, and all that kind of stuff. And The Organized Mind was an amazing book because it talks about how the brain works, and I learned a few different things from it. I think we've already gone over it, but I finished that book. It is awesome, and it's by Daniel somebody. You can watch watch my video, or I can tell you later. But anyway, so I started, remember every morning I have to do 30 minutes of self-education. So I started the book, Start With Why. So every morning, every morning, Simon wakes me up.
Simon says, "Why aren't you kissing me already, Kim?"
And he doesn't talk about that. He does talk about. He does start with a why.
Her current crush slash also very genuine and authentic self-help guru.
Yeah.
Simon
Sinek.
I almost said Simonek. Like I know better.
Nope. Sinek.
Oh, that would even be better if it was Simon Simonek.
Simon Simonek. No, it's Simon Sinek. And start with why. Why aren't you calling me back, Simon? Why? It's cute. Anyway, it's such a good book. I'm on chapter 4.
Why do you think 1,000 calls in one day is too much,
exactly.
Simon?
Exactly. I have unlimited text messages. I can send 500 if I want to. No. Anyway, so far it's a good book. I'm on chapter 4. He uses a lot. Everything that he says, I'm like, yep. So one of the things in there is we start with why, and I'll tell you, I always start with why. When I go out and do my presentation on building relationships, I always talk about why I do it and how I make people smile and all that kind of stuff. I never really sell the product. I show the product. I let them experience it, but I always tell them why I do it, and that's weird because that's how I've always been. Accounting, why do I do accounting? I don't know, because people don't want to do it, and I like it. That's not. I don't really focus on that business. It's totally
counter me because I'm Spock brain, and I just want you to get to the point. And I understand that I'm possibly a Martian.
You're close to.
I understand, but it's just odd to me because you're right. The self-help books will talk about, and we've talked about it before with branding. We've talked about how everybody has a product, so you might need to lead with why people should like you. Mm-hmm. And I know you're not saying why they should like, but it gets the personal connection, and the personal connection is kind of your brand, and that's also kind of start with why, at least the way you're saying it. I haven't read the book yet.
So like one of his examples is always like Apple. So Apple comes out, and Apple is their own group of people. Like people that buy Apple iWatches and all that stuff, iPhones.
The opposite.
They have that group is there. So when they brought out other phones, and I don't know if it was like
they're the first company that was recently valued at $1 trillion.
Well,
anyway,
some of the companies. $1 trillion.
No, that can't be right. I think it was.
I don't know.
It was, though. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so some of the other companies that came out that were computer companies tried to put out phones, but because they marketed themselves as a computer company, but Apple has always marketed itself as pushing you forward, or they always have their generic kind of philosophy, which allows them to get into different markets. That's kind of what the why was. Anyway, so as promised, September 1st, the president, I believe, said that they were going to do some tax credits. And I'm only going by what I've read. And as we know, with all these ridiculous things the government's doing, what they say today doesn't mean it's going to be the same tomorrow. So doing payroll, one of my customers contacted me and said, "Is this using the new payroll thing?" And I was like, "What payroll thing?" Like, I had heard it.
So one of your customers is asking about just a new policy, and they're giving a reference to a payroll thing?
I did their payroll, and he says, "Is it the new payroll thing?" And I was like, "This, I don't know what you're talking about." So he said, "There's a new payroll credit started September 1st. So I Google payroll saving September 1st, and boom, it pops it up. And so I get this thing, and it basically said that the employee, starting September 1st till December 31st, I believe, cannot pay their share of Social Security and Medicare, which would actually increase their take-home pay.
Well,
but it only defers it.
It's not that they could not. They can take the option.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So it's a deferral. So if you don't want to pay it, you don't have to pay it until next year. But here's the catcher. The catcher is, first, no software in payroll even has a clue how to do this. Secondly, when I read, says if they choose to do this, you have to manually keep track of all the money that they owe you, and then you have to make those entries in 2021, and then I'm going to file the 941s, but it's going to tell me that I still owe money, but am I going to be fined on it? And then if you don't pay it on the right time, then there's penalties and there's interest. So there's multiple different ways that people were talking about it. So on the W-2, at the end of the year, it could show that you didn't pay all of your Social Security and Medicare. And then when you do it on your taxes, they would make you pay it. You would think that. But then in one of the descriptions, it said, make sure your employees know that next year their checks will be way lower than they are right now because you're going to take it out double, which makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Well, it's another one of those, like when we talked about the last episode, you said, well, just wait another month, because after they've made enough crazy decisions, they're going to have to then do something else to make up for the fact of their stupid decision.
Right.
And this is going to be the same way, probably, because they're going to go, what are you going to do? They're going to owe that much more money next year. Well, but so it's going to have to come out of their paycheck. How are they going to make up that? Because you're just rolling down the road how peeved people are about you because of this 2020 situation. You just keep rolling it down the road, trying to seem nicer. At some point, it's got to come.
Well, but they keep making these really quick decisions that require months of reprogramming entire computer software.
Let alone crossing across years,
right,
like you said.
Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, I don't exactly know what's going on with that, but I would look into it more. But I told my employers, because a lot of them, they work with high turnover, is, well, if they're going to make you pay it back in 2021, what if the employee is not there anymore? So how do I make their paycheck go lower? And does it carry on to a new employer? How do they pay it back when you didn't pay it now? Because, as an employer, I'm not going to pay it for them. So is it going to be to where they quit and then your W-2 does have a less amount on it? And at the end of the year, the software...
And if that isn't figured out, do a bunch of people go, this might be as good of a time as any to get a new job? Because
right. Yeah.
Is it going to lead to
I don't know what's going to happen with that. Just one more crazy thing.
That's crazy. So, quick aside, I was listening, but I wanted to look that up. Apple has reached a $2 trillion valuation. So much so that it overtakes the combined market value of the UK's 100 biggest public listed companies.
Yeah.
You add all of those up, publicly listed companies in the entire United Kingdom, the Apple's market valuation is higher than the combination of that. $2 trillion.
How much was the CARES Act? Drop in the bucket, how many trillion? 3 trillion?
Well, I mean, between the two, it came up to 3 trillion. But
3
we're just
trillion.
talking straight up valuation, not
No,
like
what I'm saying is
how much
that's
money.
an entire
Yeah.
country of stimulus. We have one country that's a third of that.
Yeah.
All right, so 50 and fabulous. I cannot believe that in 2 weeks
I don't know that
we
I
will
agree.
have completed 1 year.
Oh, the episode. Yes, I definitely agree. The episode 50 and then the
I'm
upcoming is fabulous. Yes.
Yes, it's amazing. That is awesome. And so when we were coming up with 2 topics, okay. When I was coming up with 2 topics,
I was offering moral support.
he was just talking about something, and I was like,
Oh boy, we were chatting. You're like, okay, Tyson's talking, and I let me think.
he was on speakerphone. We always have our
blah
Monday
blah blah
meeting.
blah blah blah
He
blah
was
blah.
just talking. I was like this. Focus, Kim. We got to come up with the topic. And then he kept like this. I go, okay, well, first, we're 49. We're going to talk about this. And he was like, okay, good. Back to talking. And I was like, and I have to set up our Google Sheets because we have Google
my
Docs.
Lord.
And then I share them. And then he can get on his computer and we can start filling stuff out together.
Moral support.
That's right. Yay, go me. Anyway, so I was like, it just makes sense to do 50 and fabulous because I'm over 50, you're over 50, and together
I don't know
we're
what you talk about.
you young thing. But together we're like 55. I mean, 105.
We don't need to talk about that for sure.
I'm older. I take my age. I love it because I don't look my age right now. I mean, when I probably look my age, which I don't think I ever will. My uncle is 77 years old. He looks like he's about 52. So I hope that I get to stay young and beautiful forever.
I mean, no doubt,
young.
man.
Well, you don't look 50. You look like 47 and a half.
Smart ass. Now we gotta check the thing on the podcast.
That's not a bad word.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay,
not
good.
explicit. So anyway, like 5 years before you turn 50, you start getting your AARP stuff in the mail.
So stupid.
And you're like, what? I never really understand what it is. It does give you discounts, and I have joined before, and I always like to support it. But man, you get so much flipping mail. And if I had time to read it, but you do get a membership. I mean, you can get like discounts on stuff if you're a member, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, the big thing when you turn 50, colonoscopy.
Okay, stop right there. I don't know. Okay, can we turn this mic off and discuss this
Nope.
separately?
We talked about
Okay,
this.
so so my addition to that is colonoscopy. Colonoscopy. So age 25 webcam, age 50 colonoscopy.
Right. Woohoo! 21, you can drink. That's
50
about it.
Metamucil.
50
I don't do-
colonoscopy. I mean, nothing.
Just everything is 50 colonoscopy.
I don't know. That's what I just thought. They're like, every time you turn 50, you got to.
21 rock hard abs, 50 colonoscopy.
18, I'm an adult. 50, colonoscopy. I guess one of the biggest things when I turned 50 is, okay, when I turned 40, I really learned to care less, like what people thought about me. I mean, I never was a people pleaser. I like that people don't always hate me, but when they did hate me, I just figured they had bad taste in friends.
Right.
But as you get to be 50, like I do work out, I do try to stay healthy, but I'm like, I'm going to eat the flippin' donut. I don't really care. I am not a big person, so I don't have to have a flat, rock hard stomach. Never have. Even when I was 20, did not have that kind of stomach. So I'm not looking to be someone that I'm not. I'm looking to enjoy life. And so that was one thing that I didn't care. Now, AARP, I love finding lists. And this was kind of a funny one. This is what they said not to do after you turned 50. And this was on the AARP personal growth transition. It says Jacqueline Mitchard things to never do again after 50. And I disagree with all of these. I mean, I guess I'm a young 50. First of all, I've already been told that you're not supposed to wear a bikini when you're 50. I will rock a bikini until the day.
Who told you that?
I know. What the heck is that about? I can rock a bikini. Trust me, I've been to the public pools. I can rock a bikini. So, but the other one was, she was like, don't do Jello shots. What the hell? Like, I love my Jello shots.
But what if I don't have my dentures in? Fix very well. Jello seems like the proper thing to use.
I know. I mean, come on. Don't you think the people in nursing homes aren't putting a little bit of something in that Jello to knock those people out?
I've probably not taken 3 Jello shots in my life, so not much of a change for me.
Oh my goodness. I love Jello shots, and I make them in little champagne glasses.
Is
or
that
little
part of the
baby
thing?
ones.
Because they're Jello, they can't have that much alcohol in them.
Oh, there's alcohol in them. I mean, but when I bartended and we would do dollar Jello shots for like Diva, we had a drag show a couple times a year. Mm-hmm. When I was bartended, and I would always make rum and vodka. They're different colors, blue and red, Jello shots, and then I would make orange Jello shots with no alcohol in them. So when they came over, they'd be like, buy a round of Jello shots. Kim, you want a Jello shot? I'm like, yeah! And they'd pay $1 and I'd do some orange Jello. Because I don't drink when I bartend. Right. And then some people are like, man, I want an orange one. I'm like, here you go. I mean, they're too drunk. They don't know there's no alcohol in it. But anyway, we love taking Jello shots when we go to the lake and camping. But then they said karaoke after Jello shots. What the heck?
Okay, this is too much. This is too restriction.
Like, how? What am I supposed to do? Like,
who wrote this?
50.
Dr. Fauci?
I don't know. Oh, Jacqueline must be a very old 50-year-old.
So no Jello shots. Well, if there were no Jello shots, then obviously there's no karaoke after Jello shots.
I mean,
but should you break that first rule like a very unwise person?
Yeah, exactly.
At least don't do karaoke.
Don't do karaoke, man. I don't need alcohol to do karaoke, but I will do some Jello shots when I'm karaokeing. Oh man, I miss karaoke. We need a karaoke. I have a karaoke machine. I mean, I can do it. No, like we have the whole system at the restaurant.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been to karaoke before.
Yeah, I have.
Haven't you? Mm-hmm. Okay. Crowd surfing. Okay, so never thought about doing it when I was 20. Never thought about doing it when I was 30, 40, and still don't care about why would I jump into strangers' hands to let them touch my body inappropriately?
Because you're really getting into the concert.
Because I had too many flipping Jello shots, maybe?
You're really getting into the concert, apparently. You know?
No.
And then, like, your little petite thing is like, oh, I'm the girl that everybody knows, and I'm the crowd surfer. And because I'm light and that's my thing. That's my thing. I'm a crowd surfer. But then she's 40 pounds heavier, and then she can't.
Right, exactly. You know, it's probably because in your mind, because you're 50, you're not that thin little thing that you. I don't do it anyway.
A little waif. And if you fell.
Yeah,
if you
break
fell,
a hip.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, collecting.
You don't want to break a hip crowd surfing in an NSYNC concert. Because then you go backstage, and no matter how good your makeup looks, you're still limping. And then old Donnie doesn't. I don't even remember. Donnie's like, not interested, yo.
No, not you. All right, collecting owls made of shells.
I don't even know what's going on here. That's what not to do after 50?
What
or
not
what
to do.
To do after 50?
So, baby, they're basically saying, I know you're going to want to do it, but please don't.
Oh,
gotcha. It might sound like a great idea, but probably we shouldn't. And I'm going to agree with that one. I'm going to give that one a
okay.
Yeah.
We're 1 out of. Well, actually, you're 2 out of 4 then, because you're
not
okay with no crowd surfing, but only because you didn't before anyway.
Bragging. So
don't brag again after 50.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I don't understand what that means.
Bragging is this. Man, I raised my kids so good. They are perfect angels. I was the best mother ever. They're talking about making up stories about lying. I should just say, don't lie. Don't lie. Don't talk about how, man, my marriage is just so perfect. He is everything to me. What? I did not get... So anyway, Then we went into...
That reminds me, just the way that sound reminded me of something from... I can see that being a scene from Hee Haw. Oh, and don't reference...
Where are you tonight?
Don't reference
Hee Haw. Leave
after
me here all alone. Oh my, I'm 50. All right, so then we went to www.prevention.com, and it says things that happen after you turn 50. And so losing weight becomes harder, and this was funny. So it said 2001, I need to lose about 20 pounds. Better hit the gym. 1 month later, yes! 2007, I need to lose about 30 pounds. Hit the gym. 2 months later, okay, still got about 15 pounds left. 2015, I need to lose about 40 pounds. Hit the gym. 2 months later, I need to lose 45 pounds. It's so true. You're just like,
Yep.
How am I'm eating grass.
Right.
So anyway, I thought that was funny. Let's see here. You really don't care that no one likes the things you collect, but
you. Okay.
you.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, so
It
after
goes
you
back to
turn
that
50...
caring thing.
I mean, I guess, do you still collect... Is that the whole idea of old guys collecting railroad... miniature railroad stuff? I mean, nobody really likes except
It's like,
other
here's
old
my
guys.
collection of these porcelain dolls or these hats that I... Look over here at my collection
Or
of
maybe
this.
you just...
I don't
you
know- I
can
didn't
find the
understand
niche
that
people
one.
who do like it. Like,
Yeah.
how many of the classic cars on cruise night are like guys who are like 50 and up? Probably about 85% of them.
Right.
Not that they're not cool. They are kind of cool, but
Right.
that's really like too much their identity sometimes, I think.
So then, of course, you're a cheaper date because you can't drink Jello shots. I guess Jello shots are only usually $1 because this is a lie because the capacity for drinking is diminished. I can still drink the same amount. I can still act the same way. My recovery period is a lot longer. The next day I will feel good. It is the third day that I am worthless. So if I go get drunk on Friday,
Whoa.
I'll wake up Saturday, I'll be fine. Sunday's okay. Monday, I'm done. I will not survive. So, yeah. So and that's because I drink Captain Morgan and he's my best friend.
Oh, I didn't know that about him.
Me and the captain, we're pretty good. So, and then you believe your digestive system is an interesting topic. Colonoscopy. So, have you had yours, Tyson? Have you had your colonoscopy? Man, my bloating's...
This is already true before this with at least your family, like your brothers and sisters. I mean, if you're like, I talk about that way too much in terms of an indication of your health. That's the indication that we talk about it.
Right.
But it's true. It does become a topic.
Yeah, and well, it's something that you actually talk about. You're just kind of like, oh man, whew. Man, I just had some broccoli. As opposed to be
gracious.
like, fart, and then people sitting around like, what, me? Now you're
I will
like,
never-
man, sorry for that.
First day, I'm like proud of that. It's the first day you'll need to check my fingerprint. I'm not into it.
Okay, so this I don't understand, because this is not true so far. Knock on table. Sex is much worse. I mean, I guess it depends
Much
on
worse.
your partner. Much worse. I don't get it.
Maybe different.
Or it could be better. And so there's different variations for some of
boy,
us
this is gonna
because of estrogen
Kids,
levels.
you might. Parents, you might. I don't know how
Yes, all the children are average.
egregious this might get as far as at least clinical graphic language.
Is that our warning?
Yes.
Or I'm just going to giggle the whole time.
Go to the other room and
Right.
watch South Park. That wasn't right.
That was right. So, anyway, it talks about your estrogen and it talks about...
Hey, they ain't talking about my estrogen, yo.
No, this is women, I guess.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I hope that yours is pretty low. So anyway, different drynesses, pains. You'll have to go look at this yourself. Let's see here. It says,
However,
on the other hand, smaller levels of estrogen relative to the testosterone that's naturally in your bodies may mean our partners suddenly look like George Clooney to us. So, like, we lose sight. we now have that beer 30, like that 6-pack after the bar closes appearance. I don't get that. When you were in your 20s, every man was supposed to be amazing.
The Amazing Kreskin. Oh, the Johnny Carson reference. Mind melding.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't get it. Older bodies with their bless you, with their folds and softness actually feel really good. That's what I go for. I was like, man, I could really just be a rock hard body, but I like my pillows.
But Shar-Pays are nice too.
I like a little pudge.
Honey, why only in the last 3 months have you started using a nickname of me and calling me Shar-Pei?
Let's not talk about it,
Let's
honey.
not talk about it.
Wait a second. So I still didn't get the George Clooney thing. Was that a separate deal from the quote?
What it's meaning is that when you're estrogen and stuff like that, you might start looking like George Clooney. I think they appear sexier to you just by internally or something, you know.
Okay, so maybe, I mean, not that, okay, I don't get that
It
one,
just
but-
says, on the other hand, smaller levels of estrogen relative to the testosterone that's naturally in our bodies may mean our partners suddenly look like George Clooney to us. When you were in your 20s, every man was supposed to be the Amazing Kreskin, mind melding with you, knowing exactly how you wanted to be touched, says one friend. As you get older, well, seriously, who needs a lot of fumbling? A, you're not more confident. B, you don't have that much. Oh, you're more confident. B, you don't have that much time. Dude, come on. I'm tired. Let's go. Let's get it going.
Oh, no, I was laughing at the substance,
I was
not
talking
you
about.
screwing up.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought it sounded like I was being mean at you, sorry.
I was like, dude, come on, let's get this over with. I got some dishes to do. That said, we don't have enough time. If you're with a partner around your own age or older, so much the better. Older bodies with their folds and softness actually feel really good, and touch matters more than ever since neither of you can see that well anyway.
Hey, whatever you need to do to convince yourself.
I was like this. Oh, as I squint, you look just like Keanu Reeves.
It's like, honey, I'm in the other room. Well, who the hell's this?
You know what? All you gotta do is shut the light off, and you can be whoever you want to be.
I like that level of tricking yourself, though. It's like, oh yeah, definitely older flabby bodies actually feel really good. Not those hard bodies like you were with when you're in your 20s. Oh, can't even stand to look at them. But sure, yeah.
But the flabbier bodies enjoy better food.
That's true. There's some level of, and that works at any age, of the kind of leeway you get if you're not worried about being the perfect physique, and you're less worried about being the perfect physique if you're with someone who's not worried about having a perfect physique. You're both just accept each other more.
But I say this, hey, I'm 53 years old. If you want to date a 30-year-old, then you can go deal with a 30-year-old crap. But I'm 53, so you get that exchange. It's like I might have a little bit of fluff.
How much is 20 pounds worth to you?
Right.
Because there's an exchange, and there is on the ledger. These things balance out.
It balances out.
A little accounting term after my mistake in the last episode. Boy, I didn't know the difference between payroll and reconciling. What color is green? All right, off to the next thing.
All right, you really, really don't care that no one likes the things. Oh, wait, I already read that.
You did read that? I missed it. I love that one.
That was
Celebrity magazines are filled with pretty
strangers.
strangers.
No. That was right. Yeah, you are right. Yeah. I thought you were reading
It's
this.
totally true. Celebrity magazines
Yes.
are filled with pretty strangers. I'm like,
Yeah.
every time I happen to turn, I don't listen to it. This isn't an age thing. It's that I've always liked talk radio, and I've always liked sports talk. So when I do tune into music stations, no clue who's singing. I just listen to the songs and like some of them. So then when they say so-and-so's going to appear on the whatever awards, I'm like, I
don't know who that is till you hear the song. You're like,
Zero
oh, I
idea.
like that song.
It's like, I heard that song before. Or as
Yeah.
we said in a recent episode, it's like whoever, what's his face on Ridiculousness has as the co-host, they probably had a couple hits on the radio.
Right,
I don't know. But but now even to the celebrity magazine level, it's like, okay, I'm glad that I informed myself. It's almost like you're an anthropology major and by opening up a celebrity magazine, you're getting a little bit of information about another culture because
Right.
you're just so far removed from, I call it celebriganda. I've patented that. I've trademarked that
Trademark,
term.
yeah.
Because celebrity culture can sometimes just be an excuse not to pay attention to things, just like sports can and everything else.
Right.
But yeah, at some point you're like, okay, I don't know the first 3 people I flipped to in the celebrity magazine.
Right.
And maybe I've seen their face, but I wouldn't have matched their face with their names or known what they're doing. So that's totally true for me.
So, but I believe that on the news magazines, like the Inquirer and stuff like that, I still think that our genre of people are still, because now they have all the still have the drama. So you've got the young people on there that I always go, I don't know who that is, but they always throw one of us old people on there that does anybody really care that she's from Mars and he cheated on his other wife? But
Yeah. They've always got the old standbys.
Right, they always have
John Bon Jovi,
because they're trying
Cher,
to get
blah, blah.
all ages involved in the magazine, so they're pretty smart with that. But yeah, and I do watch a lot of the newer shows, but like you, I've never really paid too much of attention unless they're like hot guys. Like
Even then, do you know their names?
I might know a couple of them,
You're like, well,
but I've kind of stalked them on YouTube.
no, unless you look at my web page history, and then you'll find
Yeah,
out
exactly.
that
I
actually...
might have stalked you a little bit or whatever.
Well, I'll do
Whatever.
that too. I'll be like, whoa. Who the hell's that? And I'll go,
Yep.
is that as gorgeous as it looks? And I'll Google, and I'll be like, yep,
Yep.
yep,
and yep.
And then 2 days later, I'll still forget their name because
Right.
when I was young, I hadn't seen the full complement of gorgeous women on the planet, and now it's like after this long, they just keep making more.
Right.
You know, there's you
And they're
can't
so
cat-
young, and they're so
you can't
young.
catalog
like
them.
they're so young, but they look like they're 30 years old. Back when we were there, they were 30 years old and they looked like they were 12. It was really kind of an odd thing to me how that kind of switched around, because you had all of our TV shows had 20 and 30-year-olds playing high school kids, and now they have high school kids playing high school kids, and the age of them, or even a little bit less, and you're like, you look like you're 25, and you look them up and you're like,
I
he's
didn't know
only
that.
21. Oh yeah, some of these guys I look up, I'm just like, they're so
Yeah, no.
yeah,
Yeah.
I could have given birth to them, so no. But they
Yeah.
do look cute. Anyway, all right. So it says you really, really don't care that no one likes the things you collect, but you. That's still
Yeah.
a collection thing. I don't understand that. You may have slightly lost hearing and eyesight, but you gain this thing called perspective. Now, today...
Oh,
my-
that's very deep. Thank you for what's the guy's name from the old Saturday Night Live? Deep Thoughts.
Deep
with-
thoughts with
I don't know.
candy. I don't know.
But you gain this thing called perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean you do, but sure.
But I think that's just with worldly knowledge of having 50 years under your belt of dealing with
but
crap.
what I've said is that is true. But on the other hand, they're never mistake, and you can know this as a 19-year-old, age with wisdom or intelligence, because they don't necessarily follow. People who are bad at their jobs at 19 and never really cared may still not care at 45, and
Right.
the only difference is that 26 years have passed.
Right.
They still are not earnest, good, exceptional employees.
Right.
So the same thing can apply to, learning life lessons and becoming a better person. Sometimes the guy who was a total jerk when he was 19 is still a total jerk at 45.
Right.
You know, so...
Well, they still have a perspective on the world that they're just going to be a total jerk.
Right.
You shrug off the small stuff.
I think that's definitely more likely as a year.
I would have to say yes, for the fact that I pick my battles a little differently than I did before, and now with social media and all of the all that stuff coming towards you, you really have to filter things.
Well, and it's such an important lesson to learn as early as possible, because you can't hold on to every single slight and negative, or you're going to create too much drama in your own mind. I'm not saying you shouldn't stick up for yourself. I'm not, but you can't hold on to everything, because someone's going to be a crap. And you also can learn by shrugging off the small stuff, that then you get the less reaction.
Right.
So the more you shrug it off, the less likely you're going to... I have a close relative, but things aren't working out well and haven't for years, and they're just haunted. Everything in their past is a haunt, and colors every single interaction in their present. I mean, after decades and decades, they have not learned to shrug off anything. They connect to everything that's ever happened. There's been some bad stuff, but at some point you got to shrug that off. And I do believe that for the most part, most of us have learned a lot better by 50 than even by 30.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I agree.
I agree with that. And then, of course, it's one of the bad things is once you get to be 50, people start to die faster. Because when you're a kid, you know, friends die, you know, but they're not a lot normally. So you get older and you lose a parent or both parents, and you realize that, you know, it's worse now. My mom, she's in her 70s, and she's like, I don't like to look at the obituaries because someone I know dies pretty much every day, because
that might be another thing after 50. I mean, who looks at obituaries?
Well, my mom does, because that's her generation. Her generation does.
Right, and maybe
we
just
have
'cause the
social
newspaper.
media.
Yeah.
We have social media, so if
out.
you're going to find out that someone died, because normally you're probably connected with them, so you don't have to look obituaries.
I wasn't trying to judge. I was just saying maybe that's another one that
Right.
after a certain age, maybe you actually look at that.
Yeah,
more,
well, you do, because you got to keep up on the news, and the news is who's gone. It's pretty sad. But then it says your kids are probably old enough not to hate you anymore.
Well, the other thing too about the people being gone, a good example is I grew up as a young adult watching the NBA like I always have, and there was a guy who, you know, he even had a long career, NBA player, and you know, I've always said about NBA, 6'8", run like gazelles, jump out of the building, you know, can wear any suit and look great because they're long and slender. And and slim, so they look like this is the second time I've used the word avatar in the same episode.
Right.
But it's true. It's like 6'8" at 6% body fat. You know, angular. You know, all this stuff. So you don't think of those guys as being in poor shape. There's a guy who played for a pretty long. I remember him well, and he was a fun player to watch, named Cliff Robinson. And I think he played into his late 30s, maybe 40, but probably more like 37, 38, for some pretty prominent teams. Died at 53.
Yeah.
You know, so even those types of things.
That's my age.
Yeah, even
That's
those types
young.
of things died at 53.
Yeah.
You know, so to your point, it's like you're not only just there's a good chance that, you know, you're seeing some people die that you know, but you really start at least considering your own mortality a lot more. You know, at 30, you're like, well, yeah, I know it could happen, but it's not going to be anytime soon. And you go, well, you do start considering it more. It's in your head more. At 30, you're like, well, yeah, if I get hit by a bus.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
But at this age, it's like, geez, you do start losing the people who either had bad luck that you grew up with, or, you know, didn't take care of themselves well.
So I, like I said, I was watching Glee. I've been watching Glee while I work during the day. So it just plays in the background because it's about 70% music and it's about 30% bullying. But anyway, of course, after, I don't even think Glee was over, and maybe it was, I don't know the dates, but I know that two of the main characters they're dead. One overdosed, and I think one committed suicide, or both. Anyway, that was a couple years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. But just this past July, another one of the cast members drowned in July, and it was really weird because I'm watching it, and so I'm on YouTube watching some of the interviews of the recent stuff or whatever, and I had just watched one that was talking about who's dating who. They have that little channel on there, and they go into a movie and they show you who dated who and blah blah blah, and they showed her, and they were like, yeah, she was arrested for she smacked her husband or something, and she was arrested, so they showed her in court, and you're watching this, and they're like, so she broke up, and she's got this little baby, and they have her showing it, and then I go to the next one, and it's like, yeah, she died in July, and I was like, what? Like, July what? So now I have to do more research, and I'm looking her up, and it was like this last July, her child fell in the water, and she jumped in, and she got the child out, but she died. And I'm like, wow. These people are in their 30s,
right.
30s, 20s, and 30s, and it's like it's incredible.
And I interrupt you because I want to go back to that, but that next one was very good. It's pretty good one. But when I said I went back to the people losing, you'd already said the next one. So you should probably reintroduce that.
So the kids are probably old enough not to hate you anymore.
I think that's really true, unless
you're a jerk like my ex-husband, then.
Right. But
then your child's smart enough not to be around you.
If it was intact the whole time, and you still had at least that okay relationship. Like, yes, of course we visit at Christmas, or around Christmas. Then I agree that's probably right about 90% of the time. I mean, in that regular situation where you were intact and you stay at least in touch. At some point, you become more just friends and confidants.
Well, and your kids
you've been so far removed from the authority point, and you've had a chance to establish yourself, even if you did live in the basement for the first 6 years.
Your kids are normally out on their own, married, having their own kids, and they're like, "Damn, this is not easy." And they just, when you're 50, your kids probably aren't that old, but they're probably to that age where they're like, this is a handful. So they appreciate what parents do for you. I agree with that stuff. And then it says young people don't really want to see us dance. I think that's wrong. I think every young person wants to see us dance.
I need a dance avatar.
No, you get to go dance.
No. I do groove sometimes at home, but I think that's the last. The thing is, I've never, another thing about getting older is when you go, I should have done more of this, and it can be small stuff. Like, you don't even know how much I love dancing. Like, I'm one of the weird people that freak out people who have to drink because I don't have to drink a drop.
Either. Yeah.
And when guys don't have to drink a drop and would just assume be on the dance floor 2 hours is none. Then you go through decades and you barely went because there's the element of, unless, not even this, but I was going to say, unless you're gay, no dudes go out on the dance floor and just dance all night.
Yes, they do. You just didn't go to the right. I was going to say, you didn't go to the right places.
Well, then you live in places where it's like, no, you just drink at the bar, and it's like, I don't want to drink at the bar. And then it's like there's just not that many clubs to go to, and the best places to go are gay bars.
Oh yeah,
just to dance, definitely. Because people dance. And so while I've done that and liked it, it's at this age it's like, man, it's kind of past me. It's like I wish I would have done that like a lot in my 20s and 30s.
I did,
but it's also so tied with, unfortunately, and I've just never liked the game. And I mean, I've been married, I've had girlfriends, but I've never liked the game. And then at some point, it turned into not even liking the idea of, okay, yeah, just because I want to dance, it must be because I want to get, I want to get in your pants. It's like, I just don't like any of that junk. And I understand that women have to be guarded. I get it. But because of that, I think that also turned me off. It's like you can't go dance by yourself. You kind of have to ask a woman.
Right.
And then if you do ask a woman, then you got to worry about all these weird little non-spoken stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not even worth it.
So
you know?
I was at our country bar that we have in Topeka one night. This is years ago. Like 5 years ago, probably, because I haven't been there in a few years. But anyway, I'll dance with anybody. If you come out there, as long as do not touch me. I don't need you grabbing onto me, and I don't want you drunk.
What if I'm like, hey?
Nope.
Hey.
Bye.
I just got a new
See
house.
you later.
You mind if I hug you?
No.
Well, but I'm about to close the deal.
Yeah. No.
You're like, no closing the deal.
Yeah, no closing the deal here. So anyway, I'm at the bar, and there is this, and I only say color because of the whole story. So there's the very muscular, very tall black man standing by the thing. He's got a beer in his hand, and he's just popping with his shoulders, and he's just popping like kind of
you know
with the
he wants
music.
to dance.
And he's like, you could tell he wanted to dance. And so here I am, a little blonde girl, walk over a woman, but I'm at a bar, so I'm pretty much a girl because they think I'm in my 30s. So I walk over and I'm like, you want to dance? And he's like, me? And I was like, yeah. So we go out and we just start dancing. And I'm just having a good time. And next thing I know, every black person in the country bar has found their way and standing by and just watching the two of us dance. And I thought that was kind of weird. So, like, I'm just dancing, having a good time. We danced, I think, to like 1.5 songs that got in the half. I'm like, thank you so much. And he was like, not a problem. So, you know, we parted and we go off on our little merry way, and I go over to other people and dance, and guys really don't ask me to dance. I'm very intimidating at a bar, so if I want to dance with someone, I have to go ask them to dance, or I'll just dance by myself, or I'll dance with my girlfriends, because that's what we're there for, whatever. So the next time I go, I was telling my friend the story, and I said it was really weird because this is a country bar, so there's not a lot of black people that were in there, but every single guy was just like whoop, right there, like almost kind of had a circle around us, which didn't bother me. I just thought it was kind of cute. Like they were like looking at him like, you go girl or boy. So anyway, the next time I went by, I go, he's right over there. And he was kind of standing back in the corner, and my friend turned around and she was like, oh, really? And I said, yeah. And I mean, he's like buff. So I had seen him at my gym, and he had his headphones on. And I mean, he looks like he's probably like a security guard at the jail or something. Big guy, like lots of muscles. And so I go to leave, and I'm walking out to my car, and this car pulls up in front of my car, and it's him. And I'm like, oh. And he got out of the car, and he comes walking over, and I rolled my window down. I'm in the parking lot. I mean, and I never got any bad vibe. And he's like, hey, I saw you in there, and I didn't find you. He's like, you mind if I could get your digits? And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But no, I am not single. I said, I just like to dance. And he goes, oh man, I'm really, really sorry. And I said, that's okay. I said, but you can't say hi at the gym. And he looked at me like, what? And I go, you go to my gym. And he was like, really? He never ever would say anything to me at the gym.
So he's
and I
shy.
Don't think
Maybe he's kind of shy.
But I don't even think he's shy. He like walks up to me at the bar, gets out of his car.
No.
Like that would have been mostly scary for people, but it wasn't scary for me because he was a really nice guy. And it wasn't like he was waiting for me. It was just kind of like I walked out at the same time and he just saw me. And I don't even think he thought, this is probably, like creepy. I didn't find anything scary about it. I was just kind of like, hey, what's going on? And then, because he goes to my gym, but it was funny one time when Chelsea went to go lift the weights. He was on the bicycle, and Chelsea went to go pull down on the weights, and she pulled, and her body was hanging from him because it was on like 300 pounds. It was like the arm pole. And he just started cracking up. Her little legs were flopping in the air, and I was like, and he laughs at this. So anyway, I haven't seen him because he works out in the evenings, but that's what happens. Like when I ask people to dance, you're talking about on the girl side of it. I'll be honest with you, if a guy comes out and asks me to dance, I have no intention, and I never think that they even have any intention except just dancing with me. Well, but every time I ask a guy to dance, then they always want my number, and they want to go. They want to go.
So here's your first clue. If you want to spread happiness and joy, you find the dudes who are moving a little near the dance floor because they want to dance.
Yep.
And I don't mean like just barely moving, like you're just drinking and you kind of feel the beat. I mean they're closer to the dance floor, and they're moving a bit. It's like, man, it's like
that's what I saw.
They got the starter moves.
He needs to dance. Like I was like, you need to dance.
It's not just okay. I'm sipping a beer, and the beer is the main thing. He wants to. So if you just have a group of friends that go, let's go find the dudes who might be shy or they just don't feel like, you know what, I don't feel like getting turned down 10 times tonight. So I'm not going to worry about it, but I wouldn't mind if, and so that guy is close to saying, and he's saying right then, man, I wish I should, but I just don't feel like it. I'd like to be dancing, but I'm just on that side of asking somebody. So when you did that, it's like, it's not that he showed, it's not that he just thought, oh, she's definitely into me.
No,
it's just that he thought, hey, I even if it wasn't me that made the progress was made, and I guess I should probably follow up on it, maybe, you know?
Right.
And so that's it. It's not that, oh, I'll bet you she wants me bad. It's not even that.
No.
It's just that it's like, well, that was fun, and she actually asked me, that was nice.
Like
so she at least didn't see me as some creep. And so maybe I should at least try to follow up instead of being an idiot and not even, you know. So, I'll bet you that's what he was thinking.
I was going to say, very nice guy. It's just that I just wanted to dance. And you know what? In a normal world, I would be like, hey, I don't want to date you, but hey, if you want to go dance under something sometime, let me know, because all my friends are basically guys. But they have to know your limits of like when you're doing that kind of stuff, and you don't do that to a stranger. Like you can't do that to a stranger. You got to meet him with a group of people, hang out with him for a while to establish that kind of trust. And so, but anyway, I still love to dance, and I might just have to have a dance party in my house because I got to start dancing.
You could do Facebook Live.
No,
just Facebook, like a group, like, you know, kind of like a Zoom meeting.
A little Zoom meeting. We could do a Zoom meeting.
Where everybody just does their camera, but then they're just 10 feet off in the distance.
Dancing around.
They could all have the right music on. Now, I don't know how synchronized it be, so some people could be half a beat off or something like that, you know, but maybe that's a ticket. I feel like we've had that idea before. And then one last one. Sound like your grandpa back then, which is totally true, because I'll be like, well, you don't know, I mean, this was before the internet,
right?
And it's like, I remember when the internet was slow. So we could get on the internet, but we didn't have any video.
Yeah, there was.
So there would be times where we'd get on the internet, but only if you wanted decent internet, you had to use the college internet. You didn't do it much at home. You could, but it would take like forever. Like I had a browser where you shut down the images just so it could go a little faster, and you would see the alternate text.
You had one. You couldn't do multiple tabs. You had one tab.
I remember that we would actually be excited about what our next email said.
Oh yeah, and you didn't have everything on the internet to look up. You know, you couldn't search all the stars and all the different websites that are out there nowadays. It's crazy. Or I remember when we had to share the phone with somebody and had a 3-party line, and ours was too long. Bing.
But even that's been long. Even
that's my grandparents. That's my grandparents.
Early internet age is now that it used to be that type of a thing.
It is.
Totally.
Well, it used
early
to be.
internet.
It used to be telephones were just in your house on the wall. They didn't even have cordless phones. When
I told you that in one of my my previous career in radio, really, that station was number one? How the heck did that happen? Turns out we had a little asterisk as why we could. It's because it's before Arbitron changed who they ask the surveys to include people that may not have a house phone.
Right.
So therefore their results were skewed because the people they asked had to have a house phone, when even then a lot of people were getting rid of home phones, and so they only had their cells. And so you were asking by definition an older group than really the general population.
Right.
And that's how our station hit number one multiple times in a row until Arbitron changed it so that the surveys allowed a more realistic cross section of potential listeners. Then they weren't number one anymore.
We weren't number one anymore.
So that was a back then too.
Well, there's a lot of back then because we've got 50 years to go back, and things have changed. Like within the last 20 years, have just
and here's a back then, but it's like my nephew was homeschooled, is finally going to public school, because I think honestly my sister, she's went through a lot of earnest years of trying to homeschool, and that's hard, let alone when you then have a job too. When you have a full-time job on different hours,
right?
Then that's especially just so that she finally kind of gave up. Of all the years, I wish she wouldn't have, because public school in this year is particularly insane. But regardless, he's like, well, I want to ride I want to ride home from school. It's like, that's what there are buses for. Stop it. You don't even live in a city. You don't have to go through the bad neighborhood.
Right.
Take the bus.
Yeah, we took the bus.
But that's definitely a back then, because in between your generation and now, somewhere along the lines, we decided that we had to drop off our kids and pick them up so much more.
Right.
The lines in front of schools, back then.
It changed because the buses, because the districts, like the inner city buses decided to go, if you lived 1.5 miles from the school, they'd pick you up. They're like, now it's like 3 miles or something. So they cut the budget, so now you're forced to, you can't get a ride to school because the buses won't even go to your house anymore. They're just like, no, you're an hour. Come on, that's going to take you 30 minutes to walk, so just walk to school, or your parents can drop you off. So they've gone back and forth on that. I don't think I drove to school my junior and senior year, and I didn't live that far from the school, but I stayed after school every single day for all of my activities, and it just got easier to have a car.
Oh, speaking of which, I'm going to say the mythology, but that's not right, a backstory of the podcast. You can go find our high school years podcast.
Oh, yes.
One of the early episodes, and get more background on that.
Yeah.
If we were telling the truth.
Oh, yeah. I was so popular.
Oh, man, I had so many dunks.
So many dunks.
Oh, man. I remember those hops. Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted me to be the prom queen, and I was like, no.
I had like a 62-inch vertical. Yeah, I could jump. There's no evidence, because back then, there were no smartphones.
I asked my mom, I go, do you have any pictures or anything of me performing, like my pom-pom stuff? And she was like, yeah, but they're like of the whole basketball court. They're not really good pictures. I was like, well, that sucks. So I one more story, then we'll go. I spent, I went to Branson, and I went to Preston's birthday party. He turned 3, and I took all these pictures, and then I came home and I made all these personalized cards for him. And today they got him in the mail. So he got a book, and he got some little celebration cakes, and then he got all these different pictures. And his mom sends me this text message, and like, you're so awesome. I'm going to need to get these pictures. You took some really good pictures, because I always take pictures of like different things. Like I snap pictures of people, but I also take it of the foods. And I like when I'm taking pictures, I'm in my zone. This is what I do. And people make fun of me, and I'm like, dude, I'm collecting memories for you guys. You're throwing a party, and I am the one getting some great pictures. And I just got my new cell phone that tomorrow gonna set up my new cell phone. I didn't even start tonight.
It's gonna be exciting. You said that is a really good camera.
Yeah, it's got a 3D camera on it, so I'm so excited. But anyway, all right. Well, we have talked enough. Anything else?
Speaking of back then,
Oh no.
you know, you couldn't see the photos when you took them.
Oh no.
And you would hope that they were good because you couldn't just take 200 photos.
You'd have to get... Wait a second. But that said, wouldn't some developers, like, if they were just... No, that's only if the photos didn't come out at all. If you just sucked at taking pictures, like, they'd still charge you. But, like, if
Walmart did not. If you went into Walmart, whatever pictures you left them, they gave you a credit back.
So
I don't know if they did now, but back then, because I've always taken pictures, and I would bring my film in, and then I'd be like, this
Yeah,
one's
that one
blurry.
stinks.
And I always got doubles of everything, because I'd give my mom a copy and me a copy, because she has everything in organized books. I have everything in boxes. So I'm like, here, I'll do mine, and you can organize these into your nice by date books. And so, but I'd be like, I don't like these, I don't like these. But reality is that when you took a picture and they turned, you didn't know they took a picture because there was no picture there.
Right.
So you just had the bad picture, and you would never take 3 of one picture to get a good picture because you only had 24
Right.
to take. So you are right about the cameras. So yeah.
after 50, we talk about how much a less convenient life used to be.
Oh, like I wouldn't go back in time. I wouldn't change anything.
I would.
But I would be perfectly content on 30 acres in the middle of nowhere by myself with able to work with my hot tub, my pool, and just away from everybody. That would be my dream, to like retire and just be in, with woods and go walk through my own trails. I think I could do that. And I mean, people could come out and visit me, but Amazon could just drop my food to me. I wouldn't have to leave and go anywhere if it was just me and my little hottie. Or, I mean, George Clooney.
That took a weird turn.
I am 50, so I mean, he really doesn't have to be too hot.
Whoever it looks like, whatever he looks like George Clooney.
He looks like George Clooney. I don't even think George Clooney's cute, so sucks for me. My little Keanu or my little Bradley Cooper.
Well, Simon's only getting older.
Yeah, he is.
So,
well, he's playing hard to get.
When you're 70, he'll be 55. You'll be good.
Oh no, he won't. He's 46.
Oh well, shoot.
I know he's not.
Fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's
Go
not.
for it.
He's not a youngin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, he's not. Keanu's older than me. Bill and Ted: Excellent Adventure #3.
What did we say it was?
I don't remember.
Face the
Music or something music.
I saw the first preview for it the last couple of days. Looks fun.
Yeah, I'm watching that tomorrow. All right, guys, thank you so much for giving us your time, and we always appreciate the listeners. Make sure to go to Kimology 411 on our Facebook group and give us a comment. And if you're over 50, did we miss anything? What's something that you don't do anymore, or maybe something that you decided at 50 you needed to be doing? Thank you, Tyson, for helping make Kimology 411 so awesome.
Episode 50 in the books.
50. Boom, boom.
2 more weeks, and wow. I mean, we were discussing this last year at this time.
This is when we were just planning.
Yeah, but
we started planning.
As we said in episode 0, we probably visited 3 or 4 times before the first really recorded.
For hours.
For
like
hours.
6 hours at a time.
She only punched me twice. I'm like, this is the podcast co-host. She only punched me twice.
And you have to remember that a year ago, before that, we knew of each other, but it's not like we've hung out. We're like, hey man, we should start a podcast. It was just a random thing, and I want to thank you so much for saying that you would help me, because you've entertained me, and you did.
Thank you for using the nice way of saying
it. Just to let you know, guys, during our break, because we did do 49 and 50 on the same one, he did not take off the headphones.
Yeah.
He's feeling very proud that he got them on, and he was like, yeah, I'm just going to sit right
here. For all of your headphone putting on needs, just contact Tyson Harley. Your results may vary.
All right, guys. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.